Hi, this is BarbaraMichelle, and today I'll be sharing with you Art Journaling by 5's. It's 20 pages in 5 15-minute sessions. I saw this on Adele Toomey's Get Inkie YouTube channel, and she gave credit to Shannon Green YouTube channel for where she found this project. So it's, excuse me, 20 pages in 5 15-minute sessions, like I said. The first session is the background session, and you use paint or ink on the page for 15 minutes. The second section is a texture section with collage or recycled materials. The third is a pattern section with stamps and or stencils. The fourth is a focal section, so you choose a focal image and some words. For 15 minutes, you put those on the page. And the fifth is the details section with pen and or pencil. And then you have the option to repeat and go back through the steps as needed. So this was just me putting them in my binder. But here we go with session number 1, the background session. And I'm just going to first start off with my ink sprays, my Delusion ink sprays. And that box is just the box I use for spraying, so it doesn't get everywhere. That green spray, the sprayer doesn't work, so I just use the other end to kind of flick some paint on the page. And now I've switched over to some acrylic paints. I just got out a couple different options for paint and sprays. I think about 8 or 10, just so I would just have I thought if I kept it a small option, it would go faster for me. This was my very favorite part of the whole thing, the background session. I liked playing with the paint, just squishing it on there, and the ink. That was very pretty, but it gets better later. I was just trying to get through the pages, and as I noticed that my time is good, I will start adding more color to the page, or more than one color, like this one. And this one I also add some water to the ink spray, so it will run down the page. I love how that happens. And for the next one, I'm going to sop up the ink that ran down. There we go. And there's some more. Just spreading it out with the paintbrush. Two colors. Use my little sprayer again to let the ink run, and then I'm going to let the ink run onto that next page and just gather the remainders, and then I will spread it out with my paintbrush. Oh, more ink. Sorry. That paint on the side, I'm using a used gift card to apply the paint, just the edge of the gift card. And the paint is actually sitting on some wax paper over to the side there. Once I get it on there, I'm going to like squish it out with the flat of the card. Now I'm just using the end of the brush to put some dots of paint on the paper. And then I'll use my paintbrush to spread them out. Spread the paint out. Fan it out, I guess. This pink paint, it's really old, I guess. It kind of separated. It was liquidy with some thicker parts, so I was just trying to spread the paint around the paper. And then I'll use what dripped down to the bottom of the box on the next paper. There we go. I really like that smudged look. Oh, and this was a lot of fun, smudging with the wax paper. Now I'm just going to start adding more sprays and more color to the ones I've already done, since I still had time left on my 15 minutes. I couldn't find my little spray bottle, so I was just adding water to these inks with, I would dip my paintbrush in my water bucket and just put it on the page. And some splotches from the bottom of the box there. That was fun. And just adding more water again to the spray, the ink spray, to let it run. I really enjoyed this session, as I said before. We're just about done with this session, though. I think there's maybe one more. Just using up all the paint I had left. All right, now we're on to texture session 2, collage and recycled materials. I'm just going to briefly fan through the pages I just did, and then I'll just explain that this is the papers I'm going to be using, the recycled materials. I just have them spread out throughout my desk, and I'll just grab as I need. I started out using Mod Podge as my adhesive, but after just about 2 pages I switched to a matte gel medium because the Mod Podge didn't seem to be holding things in place. I think after this one I switched to the matte gel medium. There we go. Well, during that one I did notice that the ink sprays, which is what they're supposed to do, once I put the adhesive on them, because it was a wet, the ink sprays, the ink would spread onto the, I don't know, whatever piece I was trying to glue down. This one I was using some lace and a paper doily and just some extra bits of paper I had. This is the negative of a heart that I die cut and some leaves I punched out. That is a punch piece right there. That was a piece from a small calendar book I had that had a bunch of quilts in it, and the blue paper was embossed, so it has a little bit of a texture to it. That is some tissue from a pattern paper, and that is tissue from a gift. Oh, and those are just some random pages from some book. I did rip most of the pieces, or make sure I had smaller pieces when I was looking for materials to collage onto my pages, because I knew my pages were small, so I didn't want to have to rip a bunch of pieces while I was trying to put them on. This one, I think I just about ran out of time with this session, but I make it through. That, okay, sorry. Let's see, that was from a die cut, that little piece. It was just like an intricate little die cut. It reminds me of a trellis. And that is just the leftover letter from some words I had die cut, or I die cut the letters to form some words. I'm not sure. Oh, there was a little bit of lace and then more of that quilt calendar book, and that's a Sudoku puzzle, and just some extra paper and the negative of a tag punch. That's more of the letters that I cut out for some other project, and that is more of that tissue from the pattern. The pink paper was embossed, and the circles there are from that quilt, the quilt calendar. That's some burlap and some lace, and that little flower was punched from some sandpaper, so it was really thin sandpaper, but it has a nice texture to it. These are the last 4. I'm running out of time, so I just quickly slapped some gel medium on there and then threw some pieces of paper on there. Now I'm just trying to get them glued down to stay in place. And this is the last 4 I had for this part of the project. One of those only has 1 piece of collage material on it, but that's okay. It works out just fine. We're ready for session number 3, the pattern session, with stamps and stencils for 15 minutes. And I'm just showing you some of the stencils I might use in this part of it. That's a paint dauber and the gift card. There's some stamps. They're all around my table. I just have them on some extra pieces of acrylic. I used Memento ink, and I also had some distressed paint that already had like a dauber on the top. That was very convenient. And also there was that blue, oh, and that gold champagne color of paint is just setting to the side there. I love these dragonflies. I assume that's what they are, but they're really pretty. And this is one of my favorite stamp sets. It has like something that looks like wheat, and that one reminds me of a dandelion. And okay, this is a wood grain stamp on the back side there, and the stencil was just some polka dots or some dots. Let's see. That's a heart. It's a chevron heart stamp, and this stencil is like a leopard or cheetah, some sort of animal print. I don't know. What's more? Oh, those are doilies. That's a doily stamp. I just got that stamp from Hobby Lobby a few days ago, and I love it. It's really cute. It has two larger doilies that are the same like design. Or no, sorry. There's two doilies of the same design of different sizes, and then two more of different design. That was just a background stamp. It has a butterfly and some swirls and things like that. This stripe is some animal pattern, I think like a zebra stripe. That was the page that I only had one piece of collage material on it. So I'm going to put a lot more stamps and to give it some more pattern. That's just a flower stamp. It's hard to see there. And onto the stenciling. Actually, this session, I ran out of time. I went over by 6.5 minutes on this session because I spent too much time on each individual piece. Once my timer runs out, I set the stopwatch just to see how much longer it would be. I love this stencil. It's from Tim Holtz. I think it's called Splatters, and it's just paint splatters, and then there's like a coffee ring or a cup ring part of it too. This is from that same stamp set. That's the wheat that I spoke about earlier. A big gold champagne colored flower there. The name of the paint I know is champagne, that's why I said that. Or not the name of the paint. The name of the paint color was champagne. It has a little sparkle to it. It's fun. More of the doilies. Doilies. And some dragonflies in pink this time. I tried to remember to stamp first so I wasn't getting my stamps in the paint. So a couple times I forgot, but I usually try to remember to stamp before I use the paint or use the stencil. This stencil is just some flowers because there are some flowers in that paper that's off to the right side on that page. This is just a background stamp that I'm using here. It's like a text stamp. It has some words. You can't really read them. It just gives you the impression of words, typed words. And the flower stencil again. That's, oh, this is where my timer ran out. That's all the pages I still have left. So I started the stopwatch just to time. And this second session, I guess, I go much faster trying to get these done in the shortest amount of time as I can. Just adding. See, that one I forgot to stamp first. So I stenciled first and the paint was wet, but I just used a small stamp. I really like Tim Holtz stencils. He has some interesting textures they add. Oh, again, once again, I painted before I stamped, or I stenciled before I stamped. I suppose I could have used some of my stamping ink with the stencils, but it seemed to be faster to use the paint with the stencils. More doilies for this one. And that Tim Holtz, I don't know what that one's called, but it's a bunch of little dots or It could be like a burlap pattern. I'm not exactly sure. To look that up. I was just saying that this one needed some pink because it already had like yellow and blue, and I don't really have much more out there. Yellow, blue, and gold and pink. I think that's all the colors I chose. Oh, there we go. 6 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the extra time I needed to finish the project, or at least session number 3. Okay, this is session 4. It is the focal session for words and or images, and I'm just quickly flipping through what I've done so far. This one I'm using the gel matte medium again to paste or glue down my focal images, and I have them kind of spread out around, mostly off camera. I kind of put the focal images and the words that I thought would go with them together when I was spreading things out to hopefully save time. I think I get through this whole session on time, maybe a little bit over, but it's pretty close. So this is just a picture from a magazine. There's a girl taking a selfie, and the little speech bubble says, "Hello there." The speech bubble is a card from a cut apart, one of the cut aparts. That girl is she's reading or writing in a book there, and her words were noteworthy and crazy good. And then we have the guitarist. It took me a while to just fiddle and get her placed on the page. Her words that I chose for that one are, I rock it like no other, and music lets me express myself. Which, goes with the picture. This is a guy painting a ceiling, and it says the little things on that paper. And this is like a Native American wizard guy, and the quote said, "Never forget where you came from." This comes from a highlights book, I believe, and it was the October edition. I think they were at some sort of Halloween party. The words were, "Little sister brought her new boyfriend." And I don't have a lot of magazines, so some of these came from, that particular one came from just a book I got at the thrift store. And this one is a mermaid. She's also from a highlights magazine, I believe. And she's actually one of my favorites. It says, "Rethink everything," or she said, "Rethink everything and dreaming big." This lady is also taking a selfie. She was on the same spread as the one before, but I liked that it looked like she was sitting on a rock in the corner there, so I just ripped her arm off. These two fellows are from one of those thrift store books, and what do they say? I'm not sure what they say. I'll look it up later. This is a dog. It's a dog dressed up like a doctor. He has a stethoscope and a bag full of doctor stuff, but actually there's bones and chew toys in that little bag. That was also from the highlights books, I believe. And that's a hand. I had a book about wizards or something. That's where the Native American came before, and that hand and the little thing he's holding has a unicorn on it. All right, that one is a advertisement for a corset. I'm going super fast. And these are some ladies, and I know that their thing I put says "not for yoga" because they're vintage. This one is a lady stepping out of some sort of cabin into some water. I think it says "my naked season." This is just a couple. I don't know. This is going very fast. This is a couple. This is two boys, and the words are "Boys Club." That looks like a woman in a maid's uniform. Her thing. Oh, that was it. I ran out of time, but I had one more to do. And this young lady says something about hunting. I'll have to find that. Oh, the thrill of the hunt. All right, we are on to session 5, the details session with a pen and or pencil. For this session, mostly I just wanted, oh, I was going to show you black and white. I didn't use any colored pencils or any of those colored pens as far as I remember. I only used the black and white. That's all I had time for. So I just wanted to give like a ground or a base to any of the photos or the focal points that seem to be floating in air. Maybe while I'll do that, I'll be able to tell you what they say on them, if I can find them. Oh, that one said, Mom got drunk and Dad got drunk at our Christmas party. That was from some weird little Christmas book I got at the thrift store. I don't remember the title, and I tore some of the things out. And I just gave them an arch to walk through. Hers says unstoppable on that top one, and then just enough and not too much. And it looks a little bit like she's floating, but I wasn't really sure exactly how to fix that. I outlined her and the word box. And this is my Native American wizard guy. He says, never forget where you came from. I'm just outlining him and giving him some a base or a ground to stand on. This lady, it says the thrill of the hunt at the top, and there's a picture of a gun. It's from an outdoors paper pad. She's holding a little fan in a ball gown. And that's the mermaid. I love the colors of this, of the paper underneath, of the mermaid. It seems to go well together. And again, she says rethink everything, and dreaming big is on that little pinky orange thing. Our two ladies are not for yoga. They are in vintage ball gowns. They are from, I don't know what century, but it's from a while ago. Okay, I'm just outlining the ladies to give them some more dimension, some definition, help them stand out from the page. Next is the maid, and her caption was fit to be tied. I don't like what I did with the line drawing here, the details. I just added some lines, but I do like her picture. There's two. This one is the boys club, and it's just two boys. Their backs are to us, and then I must be. And then of course the costumes, the monsters. Sorry, I think I must be running out of time, so I start to go a little bit faster with what I'm doing. This one is, oh, I'm just adding ground, just trying to get done in enough time in the 15 seconds, or the 15 minutes, sorry about that. Just outlining as fast as I can. She's lovely. It's a corset advertising, and it's just a lady sitting in front of a mirror. More outlining. And these are the ladies getting ready to go swimming. It looks like they're coming out of the back of a wagon or something. Well, the believer, the hand, and the unicorn in a circle. And the love story, wedding lady. I think she's the last one I get to before the timer runs out. Oh, there we go, timer. So that's it. I'm going to start to show you the pages, but when I get to the love story lady, she really needs a ground, some base to stand on. And since the next step is to repeat, I just go ahead and quickly put in just a ground before I flip through the rest of the pages. So here we go. Love story, wedding dress lady, and the believer again. We just saw that one. The lady's going swimming, my naked season. And that one is looking in some sort of book. I don't know. Our corset lady, May's corsets. Our painter, the dog doctor. Selfie girl, hello there. And that's her phone. Another bride. Those brides are just lovely. I love the black and white. And the Monster Mash Boys Club again. The Maid. I can't think of the other word for that. Our vintage ladies. Mermaid. It's one of my favorites. And that lady's just in a ball gown. She's holding a fan, but maybe she's going hunting or something. Our Native American. That was our other selfie lady, but I tore off the selfie part. And the couple, the vintage couple. Maybe they're going to a dance. I think that may be our last one. Nope, look, there's one more, the rocker lady, the rocker chick. Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm just going to show real quickly Adele Toomey and the Let's Get Inkie and Shannon Green. That is where I learned about the journaling by 5's. Thank you, ladies. It was a great, great project. And thank everybody for watching.